Francis I, King of France from 1515 to 1547, initiated his reign with the Concordat of Bologna, an agreement between him and Pope Leo X that Francis could tithe, or in other words tax 10%, the French clergy and appoint people in all positions of it, while the Pope still got to collect all the money that the church made in France. The son who succeeded Francis was Henry II, who also inherited Francis' attitude towards Protestants, mainly the Calvinist Huguenots, who were increasing in number in southern and western France. He would often burn them at the stake or cut off their tongues for speaking heresies. His other major act was the Italian War of 1551 to 1559, with which he intended to replace the Habsburgs with the House of Valois as the dominator of European affairs.
Charles IX's reign was marked by the beginning of the French Wars of Religion. He ascended to the throne in 1560 at age 10, with his mother, Catherine de' Medici, acting as his regent for 3 years. Right before his brother and former King Francis II died in 1560, following the discovery of the plot and its thwarting, Catherine was attempting to stabilize the relationship between Protestants and Catholics with the 1562 Edict of January, providing limited tolerance to the Huguenots. However, on the 1st of March 1562, the Duke Francois de Guise massacred 100 Protestants attending a service of worship in the town of Boissy. Louis de Bourbon, Prince of Condé, called upon the Protestants to take up arms. He captured the town of Orleans on the 2nd of April. On the 5th of February, in the Battle of Dreux, the Royal Army laid siege to the Protestant Orleans. On the 19th of March 1563, the Amboise Edict was negotiated between the two sides. In 1567, the Protestants would once again initiate war. The Huguenots attempted to subtract the latter by forceful means from the cardinal's control. This became known as the Meuse Prize, and it failed due to the king learning of it in advance. Following that, several towns in southern France were taken over by the Protestants. After lengthy negotiations, the Edict of Longjumeau confirmed the Edict of Amboise on the 23rd of March 1568. The peace lasted only 5 months. Civil war was bound to happen due to the Protestants' alignment with the Dutch Prince of Orange and Elizabeth of England. King Charles IX reinstalled freedom of worship where it had existed on the 1st of August 1570. 4 days after Henry of Navarre married King Charles IX's sister Marguerite de Valois in 1572, Admiral de Coligny barely escaped an attempt on his life. On the 24th of August, St. Bartholomew's Day, the Royal Council met, during which it was decided to eliminate the main Huguenot leaders. The following massacre killed some 10,000 people. Henry de Navarre and the Prince of Condé were spared because of royal lineage, but were obliged to adhere to Catholicism. The movement of Protestant and Catholic moderates named the Malcontents, along with the newly crowned Henry III's refusal of their requests for political reform towards tolerance of worship in 1575, ended in the Edict of Boulogne confirming the victory of the Malcontents. It allowed for free worship everywhere except in Paris and up to 5 miles around it. It also gave the Protestants chambers in Parliament and 8 strongholds. The Edict of Boulogne was immediately proven to be hard to apply, raising opposition rapidly. Hostile Catholics formed the Defensive Catholic League. The edict was eventually abolished by the Estates Generales, and the conflict was supposed to resume. However, due to lack of finance on both sides, they began negotiating once more. The Peace of Bergerac was confirmed by the Edict of Poitiers, signed in October 1577. In 1579, war broke out again in local areas. The Prince of Condé captured La Fère in Picardy, and in 1580, Henry of Navarre, the head of the Protestant party, took possession of the town of Cahors. There was some fighting until the signing of the Treaty of Flees on the 26th of November 1580. The strongholds were to be restored within 6 years. In 1584, Henry of Navarre became the legitimate heir to the throne of France. In order for the Catholics to oppose his candidature, they used the leader of the Catholic party, Henry de Guise, to force Henry III into signing the Treaty of Nemours in 1585. Its abolition of civil tolerance led to a sharp decline in the number of Protestants in the country. King Henry III joined forces with the South in 1588 and managed to have Henry de Guise assassinated. In 1589, the Catholic League retaliated and a member of theirs assassinated King Henry III, the monk Jacques Clement. At that point, Henry of Navarre became King Henry IV, but he still had to unite his kingdom. Paris opened its doors to Henry in 1594 after he accepted to revert to Catholicism. The French Wars of Religion ended when King Henry IV signed the Edict of Nantes on the 30th of April 1598. It established a limited civil tolerance. It also authorized service of worship in all places where it existed in 1597 and gave access of all offices to Reformed Protestants.